Hey, welcome. Today we're going to dive into the world of data analytics. It's really all about that powerful shift from making decisions based on just a gut feeling to making them based on cold, hard facts. So if you've ever wanted to make smarter, more confident choices, you are definitely in the right place. All right, let's get into it. So here's what we've got on top. We're going to start with why we even need data in the first place. Then we'll get into what data actually is and explore the four different levels of analysis. After that, we'll walk through the step-by-step process every analyst uses. And to wrap it all up, and this is super important, we'll cover a few common mistakes to avoid so you can get started on the right foot. So let's just jump right in with section 1, why do we even need data? This is all about making that huge leap from just relying on intuition to demanding real, actionable insight.
Let me ask you this. When you're facing a really big decision, what's your process? What do you lean on? Is it your past experience, just a hunch, or something else?
You know, for most of us, it's probably a mix of all those things. We think about our experiences, we trust our instincts, we go with what feels right. But here's the thing. In today's complex world, the very best decisions aren't just felt. They're calculated. They are built on a solid foundation of data and clear metrics.
And in the business world, this isn't just a nice to have anymore. It's pretty much the standard. Data analysis is the engine that drives modern problem solving. It's how companies figure out what to do next for pretty much every single decision they make, big or small.
See, data is what turns these vague questions into specific, concrete answers. So instead of a manager just feeling like some products aren't doing well, they can look at the sales data and know exactly which ones are struggling, by how much, and even where. It totally replaces guesswork with certainty.
Okay, so now that we're on the same page about why data is so crucial, let's get into section 2 and define our terms. We're going to look at the fundamental building blocks that every analyst works with.
So what even is data? Well, at its simplest, it's just raw information. Characters, numbers, words, measurements. I like to think of it like raw ingredients in a kitchen, a pile of flour and some eggs on their own. That's not a cake, right? But when you gather them, prepare them, and combine them in the right way, you can create something really meaningful.
And these ingredients come in a few different forms. You've got structured data, which is all nice and neatly organized in tables, kind of like a spreadsheet. Then you have unstructured data, that's all the messy stuff, like customer emails, social media comments, maybe even videos. And as you might guess, semi-structured data is kind of a mix of both.
Now, when you hear the buzzword big data, all it really means is the overwhelming amount and complexity of all those data types combined. It's like this massive digital ocean that companies are navigating, and they're all looking for valuable little nuggets of information that can give them an edge. And to help make sense of big data, we often talk about the 3 V's. First is velocity, which is all about the incredible speed that data is being created. Then there's value, which is all about turning that raw data into something genuinely useful for the business. And finally, there's veracity. And this one is huge. It's about the data's quality and trustworthiness. Can we actually rely on this information? Okay, let's jump into section 3. This is where things get really interesting, because analysis isn't just one thing. It's a journey. It's like a ladder where each step up gives you more and more powerful insights. Think about it like you're climbing a staircase to get a better view. The very first step at the bottom is descriptive analytics. It just tells you what happened. For example, sales dropped 15% last month. Okay. The next step up is diagnostic analytics. This explains why it happened. Oh, sales dropped because our main competitor ran a huge sale. See, we're getting smarter. Then comes predictive analytics, which looks to the future. Based on this trend, sales will probably keep falling. And then, right at the top, the most powerful level is prescriptive analytics. This gives you a solution. We should launch a loyalty campaign to win back customers. Each step gets you closer to making a really smart, strategic decision. So we know the why and we know the what. Let's move on to section 4 and pull back the curtain on the how. This is the core process, kind of like a day in the life, that every data analyst follows to turn that raw data into powerful insights.
It really breaks down into 4 clear steps. First, you have to define your objectives. What business question are we actually trying to answer? Step 2 is collecting all the raw data and, this is critical, cleaning it up. Honestly, this part often takes the most time. Step 3 is where the magic happens. You analyze and visualize that clean data to find patterns. And the final crucial step is to share what you found with others.
Now, during that second step, collecting and cleaning, analysts use some really powerful tools to get the job done. They'll often use languages like SQL to pull specific information from huge databases, and then tools like Python to automate all the tedious work of cleaning and preparing the data for analysis.
And this is what step 3 can look like. After all that heavy lifting of cleaning the data, analysts use what are called business intelligence, or BI tools, to build dashboards. These visual reports turn endless rows of numbers into clear charts and graphs, making it instantly obvious where the important trends and insights are hiding. They just pop right out at you.
But here's the thing, and it's so important. The work isn't finished when the analysis is done. An insight is only valuable if it leads to action. So that final step, storytelling, is maybe the most critical of all. A great analyst has to be able to communicate the story their data is telling in a clear, compelling way.
All right, for our final section, let's talk about a few common pitfalls. If you're just starting out in data analytics, trust me, avoiding these early mistakes will save you a ton of frustration and really set you up for success down the road. You can think of this as some friendly, hard-won advice from the field. Getting these fundamentals right from the very beginning makes all the difference because it helps you focus your energy on what truly matters.
One of the most common mistakes is falling in love with a tool before you even understand the problem. The right approach is always to start with the business question. Let that question guide your choice of tool. I mean, you wouldn't use a screwdriver to hammer a nail, right? Same thing here. Excel is great for certain operational tasks, but you wouldn't use it for a job that really requires a powerful BI dashboard.
And that brings us to the single most important piece of advice for any aspiring analyst. Your job is not to be a master of a tool. Your job is to solve business problems. The technology is just the vehicle. The real destination is understanding and meeting the needs of the business. Ultimately, the greatest value an analyst provides is acting as a translator. You are the bridge connecting the technical world of data to the strategic goals of the business teams. Your success isn't measured by your fancy code, it's measured by your ability to deliver clear insights that empower other people to make better decisions. So, I'll leave you with this. Now that you have this framework, what's the first question you want to answer? Whether it's for your job, maybe a personal project, or even just your own curiosity, start thinking like an analyst today. Thanks for hanging out with me.